This is the part that everybody asks me about. Daniel, how do you drive registrants? How do you drive traffic and get them to convert into registrants? We only had 3 people show up to our webinar last time. We want to have 30 or we want to have 300. Well, there's a lot of different ways to get more registrations for your webinars. So let's talk about it. Number one, email marketing. Most clients do not fully utilize their email list. I don't know why. I think a lot of times they're scared. I'm going to put that in quotations, scared to use their list. They think that the list will be burned or they'll get mad at them or it'll be spam. Well, the reality is most people don't even remember what they had for dinner, last Tuesday. So when you're emailing somebody with relevant type of things, it absolutely works if you do it frequently. All right, your one newsletter a month to your audience, your email list, is not really going to cut it in the grand scheme of things. Yes, it's a very subtle thing, right? We don't want to annoy them. I get it, I do, but there's a yin and yang, right? There's a push and pull that I have with my clients. No, we are not going to spam them, but they signed up to be on the list to get things relevant to what you and your company talk about. So if you're sending them informative, educational, and compelling type of promotion, or hey, register for this free training class, this live training class, I'd love to invite you. This is your special invite. Well, that's not spam. That's highly relevant. So all that to say, email marketing, what you're currently doing is probably not enough. And I'm happy to talk more about that with you privately, but you want to send out emails to promo and invite people to your live webinars. Your email list or your contact list or your pipeline or your prospects, right? Everybody has an email list. And normally it's bigger than you think. I work with a lot of clients who they like to separate their email list, what they send newsletters to, versus their sales pipeline or prospect list. I'm not too sure why, but that's generally the same thing. You just tag them differently. Next is social media. So this is probably one of my least favorite sources, but it's free. These are all in order of cheapest or free to the most expensive, whether it's money or time. So social media. You probably have a social media platform that you're posting on, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook or even YouTube or even a podcast, right? But that's not exactly timely. So let's just say it's LinkedIn. Well, post on LinkedIn about your webinar. And, it sounds like common sense, but a lot of this stuff, when clients are running a webinar program in their company, they seem to forget about posting on LinkedIn or emailing everybody in their list or paid ads, which we'll talk about in just a second. Time and a place for that stuff, but post on your social media. It takes an extra 5 minutes with some of the copy you've already created from the emails and maybe some graphics that you can easily whip up or get designed on. There's a lot of platforms to design simple graphics for cheap, but post about the webinar on your relevant channels, your social media platforms that you already have up and running. Don't go and create TikTok just to promote this webinar. That's not going to be fun. You're not going to be impressed, and it's just going to waste time. But if you're already using LinkedIn or already using Facebook, post on that. Next is direct outreach. This is something that you or your sales team members can do to privately and personally invite your prospects to your webinar. Hey, David, I want to invite you to something we're doing next Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. I think this is going to be very relevant for you because it's going to cover X, Y, and Z. Now, this direct outreach to invite to a webinar or this virtual live event, is that an oxymoron? But this is much better than, hey, David, just want to follow up. Hey, Dave. Next is referrals and JV partners. One of my favorite ways to get traffic into webinars on very cheap, right? Is referral and JV partners. So I always talk about if I owned a tire shop, well, I would go to every car dealership in my area and I'd say, hey, you sell cars, we sell tires. could we form some sort of relationship where whenever somebody buys a car from you, you give them this flyer, this coupon, this code, they can buy three, get one free, right? Or get a free tire rotation or get four free tire rotations. And most likely they would say yes, or they would say, we already have somebody for that. Well, that just means not right now. So, how can you sweeten the pot, sweeten the deal, find out what you supply that others don't? I'm sure you have some referral or JV partners that you could reach out to that do complementary things to what you sell. Well, reach out to them, reignite the relationship, and say, hey, so and so, I'm doing this free live training on next Tuesday. It's going to cover X, Y, and Z. You know, this is going to be a really great thing. It's going to really help people to insert your big outcome or transformation here. Would you be open to inviting your list or your audience or your people, your customers or clients to it? And if they have hesitancy, you can always sweeten the pot further by saying, you know, I really respect your business. So in the very foundation, we have email list, email and contact list. The next is your social media pages and profiles. From there, direct outreach, right? Those three you absolutely need to be doing because number one, they're basically free and it allows you to validate for no cost. Validate your webinar, validate to see if people like it, what kind of feedback they give, if people actually show up to it, and how you can improve it without, oh man, I spent $5,000 on ads and nobody converted. I hear that a lot, and that's why when we're brought in, we leverage the foundational assets such as the email list, social media, and even having the sales team use direct outreach to privately invite. But once you use that to validate your webinar, your marketing machine, then you can start to have referral partners invite. And you can even do this webinar to your referral partners directly, a joint webinar even with both of you on. And then the capstone is, of course, paid ads to cold audiences, right? Spending money on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube and those types of places in order to generate new blood, new flow into the business, right? That's the end goal for most clients that we work with, but we've got to start with the foundation first. It's not to say this takes 9 months. No, no, no. This can be rapidly done in a matter of weeks, but we've got to start with the foundation. So again, lots of promotional channels we have at our disposal. I'm not going to go through all these, but here's just an example of paid, owned, and earned. POE, that's pretty common terminology in digital marketing. Everything from advertising to organic social, earned mentions, referral relationships, and everything in between.